Well, life is full of change. And, change can be a good thing. If you're stuck in a rut and, you're just doing the same thing over again and you expect different results, well, that's what they call insanity. That's what they call crazy. And, all of the people that watch my channel, everybody that tunes in to this, we've all got, wild stories and crazy experiences in this music business and, playing music and being weekend warriors and all this kind of stuff. And, man, it's crazy. I love reading the comments on these videos, even the trolls, and I have a lot of fun doing this. It's very therapeutic, and I'm hoping that this can provide great therapy for you as well. Tuning in every day, watching my videos, seeing the back nine of life. Life is not over when your time on stage is over. Life is not over until you're gone. And it's never too late to change. It's never too late to try something different. And, it was a huge, huge change for me to go from, living in Nashville and playing with all the people, the same people that I was playing with. It was every now and then a new opportunity would come. But the older you get in life, the reality is less opportunity comes. And I was starting to feel, on some of the gigs, I was starting to feel old. And not from a playing perspective, because I could always hang in that department. But just just being old, having an old hairstyle, my old wig, whatever, it started to feel that way. And there was a time where I got called to play with this new young artist that was just getting started, in the business, and was starting to play out in some clubs and had some good bookings. And I was kind of excited about it because, getting to do something different and play with a young artist. As you get older, you start to really appreciate youth, and you start to appreciate the exuberance, of someone, of that age. And, it becomes something that, you get to do less and less. And I've seen so many young artists come and go. I've seen many, try to take a stab at the music business, and I've seen a lot of fail, and I've failed. And, I have a lot of information that I can pass on, to people and, share that knowledge. But, I was seeing this person, making mistakes that I made, 30 years prior. And, for instance, this was a young, this girl was probably barely 20, 21. And she was getting a pretty good, amount of booking and doing a fair amount of shows. And she just needed a better band. Basically, when I got offered the gig, I kind of Googled this young lady, and she kind of had a vocal style similar to Amy Winehouse. Kind of that affected, kind of soulful kind of voice. And she basically had that, Amy Winehouse kind of vibe, minus the image, minus the any kind of concept of what she was or what she was supposed to be doing. And the thing was, if you don't know, if you haven't been in the business, you're gonna make mistakes. And I did maybe 2 or 3 gigs with her, and it started putting me in some, playing some different places that I hadn't played before, but decent paying gigs. Nashville has changed a lot, and some of the off Broadway venues tend to pay more because they have to get you there. And this was playing this, it was like a moonshine distributor, and it was their venue. It was one of the big name of the commercial moonshines. And so we were playing there, and it was paying decent. And not only that, but we would get to play, and then we could pick out, after each time we played there, we get to pick out something from the merch shop. So I was able to get like a bottle of moonshine to give to, somebody in my family, and another time I got like a sweatshirt or something like that. So man, it was like, okay, this is a whole lot different than getting $35 and a pat on the back and then a bar tab at the end of the night, which is what it really kind of used to be. And the reality is, I was like, this is kind of cool, but the whole time I'm like, oh man, this girl's like, 20 years old, and I'm 57. I'm old enough to be this girl's dad. And while I could play at the level that was way better than what her band was before. I mean, I had watched clips of her old band, and I thought, she's got a decent style and a decent voice, but she's she's inexperienced. And man, if she had a better band, that would certainly, give her a better shot at playing. But so I did a few gigs. I remember doing one gig, and her mom and her dad were at the gig, and they're both saying, I went over to their table to say hi, and they said, oh my God, you guys are incredible. This is so much better than her old band, and all this kind of stuff. And you guys are so great. Each guy's individually great, and you sound so great together. And they were just so happy and seeing this. And I'm like, well great. I look forward to doing more gigs, and I look forward to doing this. So I played one more gig with this young lady, and at the same venue, and it was cool. Made decent money. It was a fun experience, and she sounded good, but she made some mistakes. Like, we were doing some of her original songs, and they were kind of all similar in style, minor chord, kind of songs, bluesier, kind of jazzy bluesy, or whatever you want to call it. And she began to sing the wrong song over the groove that we're playing. We're playing one song, and she's singing another song on top of it and spacing out. And we're like, okay, that's not good, but we were so seasoned in everything that it wasn't something that we wanted to experience. It was just kind of crazy, so we went to we did that. And, we did the gig, and we got paid, and, but we were kind of like, that was a little strange. And that night, I met her future boyfriend or fiance, who was moving to town. And guess what he did? He was a guitar player. And I'm like, oh, hi. Hey, man, I really like your tone, and man, and it's, saying, man, you had this killer clean tone, and then when you'd kick to the bridge pickup, it had this great crunch, and and all this kind of stuff. And I see what's coming, and I said to him, oh, well, yeah, you can come to Nashville. He said, what were you doing? Where were you playing? Oh, I had a band and I was teaching guitar. I said, oh, well, you certainly could, come to Nashville and you can teach guitar, like I was kind of goading him on. But in reality, he was coming into town and was going to hop on this girl's coattails and play in her band. And I don't know, last I heard they were engaged and, whatever. But it's just like, man, everybody knows that you don't dip your pen in the company ink. And the reality is, you don't want to date somebody in your band. Now, I know it worked out for Neil Giraldo and Pat Benatar, but I can't think of too many others that have survived and lasted. Being in that kind of working and interpersonal relationship. And so, I knew immediately that was the last time I got called for the gig, despite, joining, playing with the group, and it was all friends that I'd played with for years in the group. We were all together on the gig. And all of a sudden, of course, he's the guitar player now. And, my old ass is sitting at home on those dates. And, I just felt like that's an amateur move, first of all, to just have me as a placeholder for this guy. And he's a young guy. And, he had been, I forget where he was from, but he'd had a jam band somewhere, and, he was an okay player and stuff like that, but nowhere near the amount of experience, that I'd had in the business and what I could have brought to the table. But you know what the reality is? I'm now 58 years old, and, these kind of things are going to happen. And the same mistakes people had, many, many years ago, those same mistakes are going to happen. People are going to make them. Because even if you told them, hey, this guy seems like a really nice guy, but, what if you're in a relationship with this guy, and let's just say she gets a record deal, and the producer says, he's a good, solid guitar player, but I'm not going to use him on the session. Well, man, it harkens back to the time when my buddy Roger Carter was telling me about this bass player. He was dating Lita Ford, and Lita Ford was in the process of trying to get a new record deal and recording some material and all that. And when it came time to track, the stuff, track the songs, this bass player was not cutting it. Being in the studio, maybe he was just green. Maybe he didn't have the experience. Maybe he didn't know how to dial in his headphones to where he could lock in. But he struggled. And so, then he gets removed from the sessions. They bring in big name players like Billy Sheehan and Phil Chen and people like that. And all of a sudden, he's dating her, but he's not playing on the sessions. And, they eventually broke up, because that's a lot of pressure on a relationship. That's a lot to deal with. So, obviously, the bass player wanted to play on the songs and thought he was good enough. But, man, you can't compete with Billy Sheehan. You can't compete with Phil Chen. And the reality is those guys have a pedigree, and their name, lends a lot of power to the project. So when Lita was shopping a deal, and she says, I've got this great album in the can, and I've got Billy Sheehan, I got Phil Chen, and I think Steve Stevens might have played on it, and some different people like that. You know, the label's going to be, oh wow, we're really interested in this. Yeah, this we'll market it as this, you know, album with all these great players, and you know, that's a marketing thing. You know, so the reality is, it's probably not a good idea to be in a relationship, a personal relationship with members of your band, because when it goes south, then you've got sort of a Fleetwood Mac type situation where there's all this, you know, cross interpersonal stuff going on. And while it might create some vibrant music full of, you know, tension and, you know, interpersonal, three-dimensional, you know, things going on, it's not a recipe for longevity. So, you know, the reality is, you know, people have to learn from their own mistakes. You could try to tell a young person what to do, and hey, you need to do this and you need to do that, but ultimately everybody has to learn from their own mistakes. And until you fall down and skin your knees, bust your leg or bust your butt or anything else, you're going to keep on doing the same things. And that's why, you know, if you're a young guy out there and you're watching my channel, you know, listen to the things that I say, listen to what people say in the comments, and learn from our mistakes. Because, man, we're just trying to help. I would never tell somebody to not pursue a career in music. But if you watch my channel, you know that it's very, very difficult. I don't sugarcoat anything. And I try to tell the truth, and I try to be realistic about what's, you know, what it's all about and what the music industry is, and how tough it is, and how it chews up people and spits them out. And man, you know, I'm disappointed when I see, you know, huge players and players that did a lot of things over the years, and in their later years, they're not taken care of. And that's a deep, dark, sad reality of the music business. But man, we do it because we love music. We do it because the music is in our souls. So it really, all those material things and all that comfort that we think money can buy, often that's just a great illusion as well. So this has been my TED Talk for today, and I hope it helps somebody out there. Thanks so much for watching.